Ever gotten that little jolt of, wait, did that just happen? Like maybe you're checking movie times online and you see after dawn listed, but your friend swears it said before dawn on their phone just moments ago. Glitch in the matrix. Well, not quite. But this kind of scenario, it gives us a peek into the wild world of distributed systems. So get ready to dive into clock-bound wait, which is a solution to a problem you probably didn't even know existed. Our guide today is Unmesh Joshi, writing for Martin Fowler's blog, which, by the way, is like the ultimate hangout spot for software design geeks. And trust me, this stuff is way cooler than it sounds. Okay, so back to our movie times. Seems like a small thing, right? But this actually illustrates a huge deal in the tech world. It's called external consistency. What does that even mean?
Well, it's not just about avoiding typos, though those are never fun.
Yeah.
Imagine you're not just checking movie times, but transferring money online. External consistency is the difference between that money showing up in your account once, or maybe 10 times, because the system got confused about the order of events.
Whoa, okay, suddenly the stakes are way higher than just picking the wrong movie.
See, these systems are spread across tons of servers. It's like a network of supercomputers all working together, and each one has its own internal clock. Problem is, those clocks can drift out of sync. Even a tiny difference, like a fraction of a second, can throw things into chaos.
So it's like when you try to take a group photo and someone always blinks, except instead of a blurry face, you get like digital mayhem.
Exactly. Inconsistent data can lead to all sorts of errors, like duplicate transactions, incorrect balances, even security vulnerabilities, and that's not even scratching the surface.
Okay, this is giving me anxiety about my online banking. So how do we fix it? This is where clock-bound wait struts onto the scene. Joshi's article, A&D, his whole ebook on distributed systems dive into this, and it's such an elegant solution. I kind of love it.
Instead of pretending our clocks are perfectly in sync, which, let's be real, they never will be, we embrace a little bit of controlled chaos, or at least controlled waiting. Think of it like this. Before recording any change with a timestamp, the system intentionally pauses. It's just for a tiny, calculated moment. It's like that beat of silence before a conductor cues the orchestra.
Okay, I'm getting a conductor leading an orchestra of servers visual. I'm into it.
That tiny delay is just long enough to ensure that all the other servers in the network have caught up, time-wise. So when the change finally goes through, everyone's on the same page. Literally.
It's like pausing before the group photo to make sure everyone's looking at the camera and nobody's making a weird face. Except way, way faster. We're talking milliseconds here, right?
Exactly. And that's the beauty of it. These delays are imperceptible to us humans. But for these systems, they're the difference between smooth sailing and utter disaster.
Okay, so clock-bound wait is basically the invisible hero of our digital lives. But let's break it down even further. Joshi uses the example of a key value store to explain this. Can you walk us through that? What is it, and how does clock-bound wait apply?
Picture a giant digital warehouse, meticulously organized with labels and shelves. Now imagine trying to keep that warehouse perfectly organized. But instead of being in one place, it's spread across multiple buildings, even different cities. That's kind of what we're dealing with here. The labels are the keys. Those are unique identifiers. And the values are the actual information attached to those keys. Like in our movie example, the key might be showtime, and the value would be after dawn, or maybe 7:30 p.m. or at
Okay,
night.
so far so good. But now I'm imagining those buildings all working off slightly different blueprints. That's where things get messy, right?
Precisely. If one building updates a value, say changes after dawn to sold out, that change needs to ripple through the entire system perfectly. And that's where clock-bound wait steps in, like a super efficient air traffic controller for data.
I never thought of it that way. But I love that analogy. It's like, hold on, data plane. I need to make sure everyone's on the same page before you land this update.
Exactly. Instead of updating immediately, the system takes that tiny, calculated pause we talked about. It's ensuring all the servers have had time to sync their internal clocks. Then, and only then, does the update get the green light.
So it's like a built-in safety mechanism. That's reassuring because honestly, thinking about all this complexity usually just makes me want to go off the grid and live in a yurt.
Well, I assure you, there are brilliant minds working tirelessly behind the scenes to keep the digital world running smoothly. You can keep your yurt. I think I'll stick to reliable Wi-Fi.
Fair enough. But speaking of all those brilliant minds, help us appreciate them even more. What kind of impact would it have if we didn't have techniques like clock-bound wait? What kind of chaos are we talking about?
Honestly, where do we even begin? Imagine trying to book a flight, but the airline system is showing different seat availabilities on different devices. Or think about real-time stock trading, where a delay of even a millisecond could cost someone a fortune.
Okay, yeah, now I'm seeing dollar signs and canceled vacations. That's definitely not the kind of inconsistency we're going for.
It's more than just inconvenience, though. What about healthcare systems, where accurate patient data is literally a matter of life and death? Or secure communication networks. Those rely on perfectly timed encryption keys. It quickly escalates.
Wow, it's like clock-bound wait isn't just some niche technical thing. It's the unsung hero holding up our entire digital world.
Precisely. And it's a testament to the power of clever engineering to solve problems most people don't even realize exist. But here's the thing. This goes beyond just fixing timestamps or making sure our online shopping carts work correctly.
Okay, now you've got my attention. What's the bigger picture here? Where else does this idea of controlled waiting come into play? Think about it like, how often do we expect instant results in our own lives? Like instant messages, instant gratification, even like instant expertise thanks to a quick Google search.
Yeah, it's true. We're living in a world of instant coffee and one-click purchases. It's crazy. It's easy to forget that some things, they just take time.
So, are you saying we should all be building in a little clock-bound wait time in our daily lives?
Hear me out for a second. What if we approached our communication, our relationships, even our own personal goals with a touch of that same strategic patience?
Okay, I'm intrigued. I'll bite. Give me an example. How does this work outside of a computer system?
Okay,
Yeah.
let's take something like a disagreement, right? Like two people are seeing the same situation, but they have slightly different timestamps. Their own perspectives are shaped by their experiences and biases. Instead of immediately like firing back a retort, what if we all just practiced a little clock-bound wait?
You mean like take a beat to process and actually understand the other person's viewpoint?
Exactly. That pause, that moment of reflection, it can make all the difference between like a productive conversation and a full-blown argument.
Mm.
It allows for a synchronization of perspectives, just like our distributed systems.
So instead of assuming our viewpoint is the correct one, right, we allow for the possibility that we might need to like sync up with those around us. That's actually kind of brilliant.
And it's not just about disagreements. Think about like setting big goals. We often get caught up in wanting to see immediate progress. But sometimes the most important thing is to trust the process, embrace the journey, and allow things to unfold in their own time.
It's like that saying, enjoy the journey, not just the destination, right? Maybe we need to like build in some pause points along the way to appreciate how far we've come and recalibrate if needed.
Exactly. Those moments of reflection, those strategic pauses, they're not about slowing down progress. They're about ensuring we're moving forward. But we're doing it in a way that's sustainable and ultimately more fulfilling?
Wow, this conversation took an unexpected turn, but I love where we ended up. Who knew that a deep dive into distributed systems would have such profound implications for our own lives?
Right. Sometimes the most technical topics hold the most human lessons.
So to wrap things up, it seems like the key takeaway here is this. Whether it's in the complex world of computer systems or the messy reality of our own lives, a little bit of clock-bound wait can go a long way. It's about embracing those strategic pauses, acknowledging that perfect synchronicity is rare, and trusting that with a little patience and understanding, things have a way of working themselves out. Big thanks to Unmesh Joshi for his insightful work and for sparking such a fascinating conversation. And to you, our listeners, thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, remember, sometimes the best solutions involve a little bit of waiting.